Nibs is here, we can begin.
Thank you for joining us here this morning. On this brisk morning, my fellow Democratic Senate Judiciary Committee colleagues and I are here at the FBI headquarters today on the day the Senate Republicans have scheduled a vote to confirm Kash Patel, President Trump's nominee for FBI Director. We stand outside the building that Mr. Patel on one day plans to, quote, shut down and reopen the next day as a museum of the deep state. That is one of many of the bizarre political statements made by the man who is asking for 10 years as director of the FBI. After meeting with Mr. Patel and reviewing his record and questioning him at the hearing, I'm convinced he has neither the experience, the judgment, nor the temperament to lead the FBI. My Senate Republican colleagues are willfully ignoring myriad red flags about Mr. Patel, especially his recurring instinct to threaten retribution against his perceived enemies. This is an extremely dangerous flaw for someone who seeks to lead the nation's most powerful domestic investigative agency for the next 10 years. What is this all about? What is Patel's mission? It's pretty clear the first item on his mission is to revise history, to somehow blame the police for January 6th, to call the National Guard cowards in uniform, quote unquote, cowards in uniform. Before his nomination, Mr. Patel was an endless source of outrageous conspiracy theories that benefit President Trump, claiming that January 6th was, quote, never an insurrection, quote unquote, and that the FBI was, quote, planning January 6th for a year. Planning January 6th for a year, he said of the FBI. It's not only dangerous, but what he's doing is irresponsible. Mr. Patel has even gone so far as producing and selling recordings of songs performed by the January 6 rioters who violently assaulted police officers. Mr. Patel calls these rioters political prisoners. Patel's sympathies are clearly for the convicted mobsters and not the police who were their victims. And now he wants to be the director of the #1 criminal investigative agency in the world. I was there that day on January 6th, as many of my colleagues standing here with me. Those insurrectionists are not political prisoners. They were rioters on a mission from Donald Trump. Before even being confirmed as FBI director, Mr. Patel was already seeking retribution on behalf of President Trump, despite his status as a private citizen. What is happening now, we verified through multiple whistleblowers inside this building and beyond. The new administration is cleansing the ranks of the FBI of anyone who may have participated in the investigation of January 6th. We are talking about 5,000 people in the FBI who were doing their duty as asked. 5,000 out of 38,000 who now stand subject to the new administration's scrutiny. Multiple whistleblowers have verified this information over and over again. Senior leaders with collectively 100 years of experience have been forced out, creating a leadership vacuum here at the FBI. Thousands of line agents fear losing their jobs simply because they were assigned to work on cases involving January 6th or President Trump. In the FBI's long history, this has never happened before. There was only one political person in the FBI, the director. All the others are professionals, law enforcement professionals, risking their lives for the safety of America. Mr. Patel has been open about his plans to dismantle the FBI and seek retribution. His directives as a private citizen have already thrown the Bureau into chaos before the actual vote. Mr. Patel will be a political and national security disaster if confirmed. My Judiciary Democratic colleagues and I have continually sounded the alarm. Now it is up to a handful of Senate Republicans as to whether they have the courage to step out and do publicly what they have told these FBI agents they want to do. and that is vote against Kash Patel. What is at stake is the future of the FBI, and I look forward to this vote today in the hopes that they'll come forward and join us in this effort. Next is Senator Whitehouse.
Oh, what's his name?
Senator, take it away. Sheldon Whitehouse.
Thank you, Dick.
Got to hold on to this.
Yeah. When left to his own devices, Kash Patel has proven himself to be a wildly vindictive partisan. When around Donald Trump, Kash Patel has proved himself to be a sycophantic suck-up. He has multiple foreign entanglements that are not adequately explained, including Chinese interests through Cayman Islands shell corporations. This from a guy who in this building is supposed to look out against China and Russia. And last, this is the first senior law enforcement official in American history to have pled the Fifth, and he has been unwilling to even explain to the Judiciary Committee what crimes it was that he was concerned about that caused him to plead the Fifth. Kash Patel, mark my words, will cause evil in this building behind us, and Republicans who vote for him will rue that day. Senator Coons.
This morning, tens of thousands of FBI agents got up to do their job, to serve our nation, to help to keep us safe. And later today, the Senate will vote on whether or not to confirm Kash Patel to lead the men and women of the FBI. The Bureau needs and deserves a politically independent and capable leader to stand up for the brave men and women of federal law enforcement. And after the confirmation hearing and questions, it's clear to me and my colleagues here that Kash Patel is not that leader. He is a yes man for President Trump, already undermining the critical bureau he wants to lead, already demonstrating an alarming willingness to do the bidding of a vengeful White House. Whistleblowers have alleged he's helped orchestrate the purge of senior FBI agents, its leadership, and those involved in January 6 investigations before being confirmed. When Kash Patel in the future breaks the law, violates norms, erodes trust, and harms our public safety, every Republican who votes for him today needs to know that they will own those facts. When he weaponizes the FBI, and he has literally said he plans to do just that, Republicans better hope that that weapon doesn't end up pointed at them. The men and women of the FBI who bravely serve our nation and who keep us safe at home and abroad deserve better than Kash Patel. Americans deserve better than Kash Patel. And we intend to vote against him for confirmation today. Next is Senator Blumenthal.
Thank you, Senator Durbin, for your leadership. Thank you to my colleagues for their work. Many of us as federal prosecutors have spent a fair amount of time in this building. As U.S. Attorney, I work closely with the FBI. Let me say, no building in our nation's capital better deserves the American flag than this one, because the FBI agents who work here, put their lives on the line, risk everything for our country, are patriots and heroes, and they deserve better than Kash Patel, who promised, I'm quoting, all FBI employees will be protected from political retaliation. He said it under oath. At that very moment, he was involved in directing covertly the purging of FBI employees based on political retribution. At the very moment, under oath, he was denying that there would be any political retribution. And in fact, in the days that followed, top leaders were fired, and a lot of employees were given word that they would be let go as well, simply because they were involved in a criminal investigation of Donald Trump to which they had been assigned. They did what they were assigned to do, and the result was political retribution. For all the reasons that my colleagues have outlined so well, and I think that, you know, there are just overwhelming number of factors that argue he is unprepared and unqualified. He has an enemies list. He has these foreign entanglements. He has talked about and glorified the January 6th rioters as political prisoners. There's no question he is unqualified and unprepared. The only question is whether my Republican colleagues will do the right thing. And let me say to Republicans who may vote for Kash Patel, this vote will haunt you. You will be held accountable. You will rue the day of this vote if it's in favor of Kash Patel, because the American people will hold you accountable, and we will make sure that the American people know about this vote. And with that, let me introduce Senator Padilla.
The first of our California delegation.
Right.
Good morning. I want to thank Ranking Member Durbin for bringing us together today. You know, it's pretty clear to me what's going on. If you think back to President Trump's first term, his trademark strategy was to try to, quote, flood the zone, to muddy the waters, to put us in a state of constant chaos for the purpose of confusing the American people, make people feel overwhelmed with so much that happens in a single day, and to distract from the real dangers and threats that he represents. He's doing it again, and doing so to try to pull attention away from the extreme nominees he has put forward to serve not just in his cabinet, but in a number of high-level positions in the administration. So for people listening to us today thinking, well, maybe this is just politics as usual. Of course, Democrats are going to oppose President Trump's nominees. No, this is not a distraction. This is a real danger and a real threat. Only in the year 2025, when President Trump has the Republican Party basically in a headlock, can an extreme nominee like Kash Patel be put forward with the support of the president and seemingly the support of Republicans in the Senate. Kash Patel has consistently demonstrated, as you've heard over and over this morning, a complete lack of judgment, a lack of preparation, a lack of the independence necessary to serve as director of the FBI. So no, this isn't just politics. There is a real threat to the safety of Americans in every community across the country. If he is confirmed, the purging of law enforcement will continue. If he is confirmed, this department will be weaponized as he has threatened to do. If he is confirmed, Americans will be less safe. Now, we expect this from the president. The question now is to our Republican colleagues. Will they abide by their oath of office, their commitment to the Constitution, their loyalty to their own constituents, or will they too fall behind the wishes, behind the whims, behind the dangerous agenda of Donald Trump? That is a question at hand. And as you've heard from my other colleagues, not if, but when Kash Patel breaks the law, when the FBI misses an important lead and a crime is committed in the United States because the FBI was redirected to a political agenda, not our public safety, every member of this committee or every member of the Senate who votes for Kash Patel will also be held accountable. It's now my pleasure to introduce my colleague from the state of California, Senator Schiff.
Thank you, Senator Padilla. More than 30 years ago, I served as an assistant U.S. attorney in Los Angeles for almost 6 years. There wasn't a finer law enforcement agency that I worked for at that time, nor have I witnessed in the 30 years since than the FBI. But inside that building right now, there is a purge going on. Inside that building, FBI agents who have dedicated their careers to protecting the public are being purged from their offices. Thousands of FBI agents have been sent questionnaires asking them about their work on the January 6th investigations. And let's just take a moment to understand what that's all about. On January 6th, a violent mob attacked the Capitol, beat police officers, bear sprayed them, gouged them in the service of an even bigger crime, which was stopping the peaceful transfer of power. Not only were these agents who are being purged assigned those cases and did their assignments, but they did so in a righteous prosecution against those involved in attacking police and attacking the peaceful transfer of power. But they're being purged. And the man that they would have head the agency, the man that Donald Trump would have head this agency, is someone who made common cause with those violent attackers. This is someone who joined them in song, helped produce music by these people who beat and gouged and bear sprayed law enforcement officers. This tells you something about the character of Kash Patel, or rather his lack of character. This is someone who said he wants to close down this building and open it up as a museum of the deep state. This is someone who, when I asked him whether he was aware of any firings within the Bureau or any potential firings within the Bureau, said he didn't recall. Said he didn't recall when whistleblowers have said he was deeply involved in those firings of top FBI personnel. This is someone we cannot trust. This is someone who lacks the character to do this job, someone who lacks the integrity to do this job. We know that. Our Republican colleagues know that. The only qualification Kash Patel has to be FBI director is that when everyone else in the first Trump administration said, no, I won't do that, that crosses moral, ethical, and legal lines, Kash Patel said, sign me up. In the first Trump administration, as we are seeing in the second, you rise to the level of your sycophancy, and no one is a bigger or more dangerous sycophant than Kash Patel. This political hack does not deserve to be in this building. He can't do the job. He won't protect the public. He will misuse the resources of the Bureau. He will weaponize it against the president's political opponents rather than protecting the safety, the public safety of the American people. We will vote no. Our Republican colleagues, intimidated by this president and threats of primary challenges from MAGA world, may vote to confirm him. But as my colleagues have said, they will have to live with that vote, be accountable for that vote, and be accountable for all the destruction that Patel does to this premier law enforcement agency. We stand, us Democratic members of this Judiciary Committee, stand shoulder to shoulder with the professionals in the FBI, with law enforcement everywhere, and we wish our colleagues would do the same. And with that, let me proudly introduce my colleague, Peter Welch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's like we're in the Windy City here, kind of Chicago cold. You all are doing pretty good. Well, it's not quite Vermont cold. I mean, we know cold in Vermont. You know, I'm not going to repeat the things my colleagues have said, which I agree with, but here's the context. Since January 20th, Donald Trump has been on a lawless rampage. He has invaded the authority of Congress by canceling programs that have appropriated funds. He's inflicted cruelty on people who have been loyal public servants and agencies across the country. He is threatening farmers with these high tariffs, calling it an emergency. Kash Patel is a crown jewel in this lawless rampage. He's an instrument of Donald Trump's effort to destroy the Justice Department and the FBI so that he is absolutely and completely not only above the law, but beyond the law. He's called it my Justice Department. Kash Patel agrees. He willingly agrees to carry out the vengeance tour of Donald Trump. That's what he does. This FBI has been so revered in our country. Sure, it has issues at various times, as every agency does. But this has been a non-political agency, no longer. And when in the confirmation hearing, my colleagues Adam Schiff and others asked about the purge, he heard nothing, see nothing, hear nothing, say nothing. He didn't know anything about it. 2 days later, it comes out he was masterminding it and implementing it as he was lying to us in the committee. So the biggest threat to our country right now is Donald Trump's frontal assault on the rule of law. And one of the generals in that assault is Kash Patel. We must defeat his appointment as the FBI director.
Thank you. Question? Too cold for questions?
Too cold for questions. All right. We're out.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, gentlemen.
Great
Thank
job.
you.
Morning. Thank you guys so much for coming out in the cold.
Smoothly. Josh wanted